So thank you for attending today, Understanding Your Competitors. My name is Alana Williams. I am your session facilitator for the day. I work for Hustle and Heels as an engagement officer on a very similar program to what we are currently on with Elevate. I also offer one-to-ones within the Waltham Forest program and also within another program based in the Tottenham area of Haringey. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a beauty business selling press-on nails and lashes and things. And I generally just love being in the kind of entrepreneurial world and, you know, imparting my knowledge on others and you know, feedback. It's a wonderful world, and it's a great world to be in where, you know, you can help each other out. So I found myself here, and this is my session, Understanding Your Competitors. So I think the first thing to really discuss is, what is a competitor? What is it? Because it might not just be someone who is in the exact same field as you. It could be someone that it could be a neighbouring. So let's talk about your field, since, you know, it's me and you together, Gareth. So you're a music teacher. So not only are competitors music teachers in your field. So did you say guitar?
Yes, yeah, guitar and music theory. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not just guitar teachers which potentially are your other competitors. You have competitors such as other musical disciplines. And then you've also got competitors such as what people would do alternatively rather than choosing a music class with you. So let's say they were to go to the cinema. Even though a cinema is not a direct competitor, if it's competing for the time and money that someone would spend with you, then it is a competitor for you. So sometimes you need to look outside the box in terms of what you actually think is a competitor. And I thought that this was a really good explanation that comes from the Cambridge Dictionary. A person, team or company that is competing against others. Their prices are better than yours. Their prices are better than any of your competitors. How many competitors took part in the race? So that's just a general you against them meaning for competitors, but it really means like how many people within that is seen as a competitor for your business. Who are your competitors? I kind of mentioned this on my last one. So all businesses have competitors, and if you would spend money with them, or your potential customer will spend money with them, then they are a competitor. So let's do a little task. We can do it together since it's just the two of us.
Sure.
You're getting all my attention. I think you probably thought you were just going to sit in the back and you know, maybe wave occasionally.
Perhaps.
Yes. So have you got a piece of paper? Would you like to do this as an exercise? Okay.
Yeah, I can type.
That's fine. So let's take 5 minutes to establish your offering. So your offering, we're talking about your music lessons in particular, or?
Yeah. I mean, let's use that as an example.
Okay, so in terms of who are your competitors, do you know who you would see as your competitors within the market?
It will vary with what kind of student I have. So it'll be different for kids, say, to older students. So for kids, the competition is really what activities their parents want their kids to kind of spend time on, and what they're going to fund as well. So that really could be anything from music stuff or sports stuff, any kind of extracurricular. So that would be the competition there.
Yeah,
Sports and music are the things that spring to mind, I think. I think what else I did when I was, I guess, I don't know.
And also school clubs as well, I think there's an element of, because obviously they're limited by what day they can do an activity with you quite often. So what they've got on the school calendar also is competing for, lesson hours with you.
Yeah. And then for kind of, for older students who kind of know they want to learn guitar, for example, then it becomes competition with just other guitar teachers at that point, because they kind of know what they want, So I think it's only really different between kids and adults, just because the kids generally aren't paying for their lessons.
Yeah, so it's the parents that are really the gate, which are really your customers. You may teach the child, but if the parent is not willing to pay for it, then it doesn't happen, does it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I've used the example of my business, which is Press On Nails, the Glam Squad, and we've looked at keywords associated with my industry. So that would be nail salons, press-on nail vendors, chemist brands, long nail service providers, lashes, vegan beauty, and self-styling. So these are all keywords. So I would then go on to Google, and I would use those keywords to search for anything that comes up that would be of interest. So in terms of companies, advertising, links, articles, blog posts. So it says here, where can I research my potential competitors? So a Google search is always a great place to start. I also think social media is a great place to start, because you get to see a real look and feel of how they're presenting themselves. I think, whenever you're looking at your competitors, you really want to kind of look at how they're offering things. And I've got a list here of things that you should just be kind of thinking about when you're looking at these competitor sites and evaluating them against your offering. Social media, obviously I've just said that. Google and YouTube, I think they are, some of the top search engines in the world that will allow you to go and have a look and see what people are doing, how different they're doing it to you.
I was going to say, that's just reminded me, one competitor will be teachers who provide online lessons, and not even one-to-one lessons, but just videos that are up on YouTube for free. So you're kind of up against free lessons, because mine obviously aren't free
as well. Yeah, I do think. Do you offer that? Is that something that you offer within your business?
Some videos.
Yeah.
It's something I consider about. It's kind of going into creating that online content, and it's just something it's another skill set I'd have to take on, because the quality is pretty high now, obviously, and there's well-known YouTubers for music theory and guitar lessons and stuff. So to compete with that, I would have to get an amazing camera, and then learn how to create really professional looking video and do the editing, which will be so time consuming.
Yeah.
So it's not something. It's something I could do in the future, but it's not something I could quickly kind of push out now. And I'm not really sure what the return. I'm not really sure if it's worth it. I don't know. Something to think about. It's a lot of effort that goes into that.
Okay.
Time-wise, I mean, a lot of time.
Well, I think it all depends on kind of what your strategy is to grow your business as well, really. Like if you prefer to do just the one-to-one, face-to-face meetings, then it's what your preference is, really. I do think that having like an awareness, even if it's not like you've got loads of videos up there, but I think maybe one or two, so people can kind of get a kind of feel for you and your style, might attract customers to you. But I do understand that producing content is so time. It takes so much time to do it, and to do it properly as well. And you're right, with the right cameras and that element of things, you would want like a decent production value.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I do see a lot of people doing stuff on their iPhones as well, like, and getting a lot of love from it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is something to consider. I'm just not sure if it's the best thing to do at the moment. I guess I'm quite focused on doing local, in-person lessons at the moment. But yeah, it has been on my mind.
Yeah, it's all food for thought, isn't it? Hopefully we won't be in this situation again where there's another lockdown, and I think that's what forced a lot of people to really consider that path in the first place, is that obviously their income was being reduced quite considerably by not being able to do in-person meetings. So
yeah, and my lessons did go online during lockdown, but I lost a lot of my students because they were like the kids are too young to do one-to-ones virtually. They don't. It's quite a challenge to keep like a 7-year-old's attention even in the same room. So it's just impossible online. And then my older students, some aren't tech savvy enough to even want to give it a try. So it's you kind of have to get people who are tech savvy and not children. So yes, it's a different demographic for online lessons.
Yeah,
for sure.
so I could imagine like teenagers and things like that were probably flourishing if you were in that market, but anything outside of that. Okay, so some other areas to search for potential competitors: local business directories, your local chamber of commerce, company's house, advertising, like you might just see an advertising space in a window of a local shop locally, press reports, exhibition and trade fairs. Like some of this may be not applicable to you in your particular business, but obviously when I wrote this presentation, I wrote it in a more general respect. And then you've also got questionnaires. Ask your potential customers where else are they shopping, or what else are they interested in. I think the information from your actual current customers is really quite important, because it really gives you a snapshot of where they are, and they're currently spending money with you. So it's always a good understanding to understand where they're coming from, your current customers. So find out as much as possible who they are, what products and services do they offer, how do those differ from yours, what customers see as your competitors' strengths and weaknesses. So this might be a little bit difficult for you in the teaching kind of sphere, but I think products and services, these might be a little bit more easier to answer. How do they have long-standing customers? What customers are they targeting? What new products are they developing? How are they funded? Financial resources. So I think maybe not all of them are applicable to the teaching environment, but a couple of them are, like, who are they? What products and service do they offer? And the main question is really, how do they differ from yours? What is it? Are they offering a 90-minute class? Are they offering 30-minute classes? You know, lots of just note the differences. So read their marketing materials, website, brochures, price lists, social media and testimonials and reviews, annual report and mission statements. So all of these are all in the public domain. They're really easy to find. You'd be able to go on to, let's say, can we name a competitor, or you have one in mind that you would be able to maybe go onto their website and have a look and see if it's something that you like, it appeals to you, and whether you think that they've got elements that are maybe stronger or weaker than you're offering. That leads us on to SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So this is a standard thing that they're using a lot of like management accounting practices, and to evaluate to see if your business stands up next to your competitors. So I suggest that you would use one SWOT per competitor. So I have a template for you. So you have your strengths in your top left, weaknesses in your top right, threats in your lower right, and opportunities in your lower left. So you would look at your competitor and you would pop in their weaknesses, their threats, their opportunities, and their strengths. And you would do one per competitor, and then at the end you would have a series of these documents that you would then be able to look through and look at, what are they all doing the same? What are they all doing different from each other? Where does your offering fit between how does your offering fit opposed to what they're offering? And then it's about really defining your offering, and it's also about defining where the holes are, because I would suggest that the holes are where you plug your business in. So I'm not sure if that would all be applicable in terms of music teaching, because I think it's quite a kind of a black and white kind of situation. It's that they're either being taught or not. But there's a lot of kind of consideration around whether someone wants to use your products or services. So do you want to potentially take some time now to, it was supposed to be a breakout, but there's just the two of us. So I think do you want to maybe run through a SWOT analysis for one of your products or services, or your competitors, and we can kind of discuss that?
Yeah, sure. Well, one competitor might be, I mean, this is a big one, but Fender, as in Fender guitars.
Yeah.
So they have an online like tuition program called Fender Play.
Okay.
So that, I guess they are a competitor.
Yeah.
And in some ways, there's no way you can compete with someone like Fender. but maybe not. One thing I can do is obviously face-to-face tuition, which isn't something they offer. So that'll be one difference. But they will have a wealth of of teachers that the student can choose from, and they'll have loads of it's more video based,
Okay.
So would that be an appropriate
yeah, look, why not? Let's do it, because I think sometimes sometimes, as I said earlier in one of the earlier slides, like they don't have to be a direct competitor in terms of, let's say, the other competing local guitar teacher that is obviously, potentially you two share students and they kind of float between the two of you.
Yeah.
But I think that, understanding that this product and service is out there and it is competing in regards to potentially, if people are spending money with them, they're not spending money with you. So they are a competitor. So yeah, let's so what would you say is their strengths and weaknesses? Let's start with their strengths.
Okay. So this would just be kind of from what I remember when I visited their site a little while back. So the strengths will be they have a strong brand.
Okay, let's see if I can. I'm not sure because I'm presenting if I'm going to be able to add to this text box.
If you do insert, you can put a text box over the top, maybe.
Yeah.
Alana, do you mind if I just get some water quickly?
Of course not. Of course not. Go ahead.
Lovely, thank you.
I didn't expect it to be such an intensive session. Go ahead.
Okay.
I am. Okay. So strength.
Strong brand.
Branding.
I might hop into their website now. So
yeah, let's we've got the time, and so I think it would be quite a good idea for you to have something that you can take away from the session, and I'll send this on to you.
Free trial.
Free trial. And how long is that trial for?
1 week.
So 7 days. What else?
Hang on. Oh. I'm just kind of. I think I had an account with them, so I'm just going to log in. I think I already had a little bit of a nose around.
Had a little spy on them. Well, you're already there, halfway there for standing out against your competitors if you've been doing a bit of peeping.
Okay. What other chance have we got? I guess they have a lot of options, as in Okay, no, it seems to be they've got three instruments: guitar, bass, ukulele. So yeah, it's a strength that it's slightly multi-instrumental.
But is that because those are the instruments that they actually produce?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's another strength is, whenever they sell an instrument, they're able to push the online program as well. So they both things are almost an advert for the other.
So support product sales.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so they have features, as in like a featured
Artist?
art, yeah, featured artist or technique, a certain technique. And then everything's quite clearly broken down by genre as well.
Do you think that works though by genre?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it's just a different approach, really. So my approach is my approach is asking the student what they would like to learn. So rather than giving them the option of of what we could go into, I ask them what would they like to play. It kind of assumes that they like some kind of music already. I mean, it's only really really young kids who don't really
No.
like who don't really know what music they like yet. But even
What
then,
kind of age
they
group is
do.
that?
Well, it completely varies, to be honest, because like even a 6-year-old can say that they want to learn Katy Perry, but it's just but then sometimes you'll get a 12-year-old who still hasn't really discovered music yet and is only really doing lessons because their parents want them to learn an instrument.
To get into their school of choice.
Yeah, so it's not even an age related thing. It's well, I think by the time you're older, I think the age is kind of different for different people. But I guess usually by the time you're, I don't know, 15 or something, you're definitely into something by then. But sometimes, yeah, you can be 6 and know what you like.
But I suppose it's also to do with what influences they've got at home as well. Because if they've got like older siblings and things, then they would be
Yeah.
exposed to a lot
No,
more.
it's yeah. I think it's completely that. Some people don't really grow up in a musical house, whereas some houses have music on all the time. So
Yeah.
I think it is that. So yeah, it's just a different approach, really.
So as we're discussing these strengths, do you feel yourself kind of looking at your position for your business and kind of navigating your way around what you see their strengths are and how you could maybe apply a little or some of it to your offering to make your offering stronger?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, because I can't compete with the same thing, my model is to make it more more customized, more like tailored, which is something they can't do.
Yes, of course.
Hence, what do you want to learn? And then they tell me, and that's something that Fender can't do. You can't go to Fender and say, I want to learn, this niche song. Whereas they can with me, and I'll learn it and show them.
So should we maybe start filling out weaknesses then, because you've just mentioned.
Yeah. So their weakness is they're trying to do a one size fits all. So it's generic. And it's it's not personal. Although that said, I'm not sure if they have one-to-one options. Let's
Let me
have a
just
look.
check here. What else would you say is a weakness for them?
That it's you need to be kind of good on a computer, tech savvy. So it rules out older students and it rules out younger kids. Well, they're probably not as young as 10 years ago.
I'll put very young.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other weaknesses that spring to mind? We can do round. We can keep on going round until we can come back to it. So, what do you think the threats are?
Threats.
Obviously, I think that these would probably work a bit better in like a product-based business, but there's definitely going to be threats. I think possibly maybe a threat is that you lose that you don't have that personal relationship.
Oh, I see. So this is a threat to their business.
This is a threat because what I've asked everyone to do with these SWOT analysis is to evaluate the competition, because then when you have a list of your competitors' strengths and weaknesses, the idea is to have a compile of maybe 3 or 4 of these, and then you will be able to look at what they're offering and opposed to what you're offering, and kind of carve out a niche for yourself, which is a solution based on something that they're not offering.
So just so I got my head around this, so the threats and opportunities, is that threats to them or threats to me, and opportunities for them or opportunities for me?
It would be because it's a SWOT analysis on their business. You can, it's however you want to interpret it, to be quite honest. I would personally, because I come from a product-based business, I would be looking at their threats and their opportunities. But I'm not sure if that is applicable, because we're talking about teaching here, so it's more service-based. So if you want to apply it to you, you can do. You just have to be consistent across each page. So how do you want to interpret it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, okay. Well, let's say threats to them and their opportunities. Threats to them. That feels quite hard to answer, I guess.
Do you want me to throw one in there?
Yes, please.
That they're not. Their threat is that they don't have that in person. It's not an in-person. It's not an in-person teaching environment, so they don't have that connection with their students. So I see that as being a threat, because they could potentially lose custom because they don't have that personal connection.
Okay.
No personal relationship.
I guess I'm struggling to decipher between weaknesses and threats.
Okay.
Is a threat more? Is a threat meant to be more of like an outcome? You know, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like just the threat of losing their customers.
Well, I think in let me see. I did fill out one. Can you see my system screen now? Can you just see the SWOT analysis? Yeah.
Yeah, I can just see the PowerPoint screen at the moment.
I'm not going to do SWOT analysis.
I mean, is the threat not you know, someone like me, which is, you know, admittedly a tiny threat, one that they're not worried about, but because I think, yeah, is it, you know, it is a threat like other businesses that, you know, offer things that they don't.
Exactly. That is
exactly. Yeah, so guitar. Okay, so a threat would be tailored guitar tuition, because that's something that they don't offer.
Guitar. Sorry, my spelling is absolutely.
That's all right. UITAR. IT. So GUITAR. Yeah, that's the one. Or AR.
Yeah. Sorry,
that's the one. Yeah.
Tailored guitar tuition.
Yeah. That would definitely be, you know, a minor threat, but a threat, I guess.
Well, it's definitely a threat, because they don't. It's a threat to their business, because potentially people are not going to use that service because they want a personal relationship, and they also want tailored guitar tuition.
Actually, and the other obvious threat would just be other platforms that are doing the same thing. So YouTube that where you can watch your music tuition videos for free. You know, so in a way offering the same thing but for free. I mean, it won't have the same layout, but yeah, a lot of people use YouTube alone just for free lessons.
Yeah, I can imagine they probably do. Like, it would probably be the first point of call. But I think, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that was probably for Fender. That probably is their main competitor. When they started, they probably had YouTube as its main competitor in mind, thinking about it, because that is essentially who they're indirect. They're not in competition with me. they're in competition with YouTube. They're probably trying to take people away from YouTube into a more structured, like guitar lesson focused platform being theirs.
And so go ahead.
Oh no, so I just thought of another strength of theirs is that they of the songs that they've listed that you can kind of choose from to watch a video lesson for. They've categorized everything by difficulty level.
Okay.
So if you say that you're a total beginner and you want to learn a really easy song, you can filter the songs by very easy.
Categorized by.
And if you want something more challenging, then you can choose something more challenging.
Okay, so we go on to opportunities now.
Yeah.
So the opportunities for them, I would say, is to sell more product, because that's effectively what it's supporting, isn't it? Product sales.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think it is just they're reinforcing their brand all the time. So yeah, the next instrument that you buy is perhaps more likely to be a Fender, and any accessories as well, because they do amps and pedals and just guitar straps and all that stuff. So I guess they're trying to get you into that world. That would be their main goal, I guess.
So reinforce the brand.
Mm-hmm. And sell products. I'd be interested to know how much money they actually make from this website, whether that is as important to them now as selling guitars.
Yeah. What would your hunch say, looking at it and understanding the market?
I can't imagine that they're making more money from this than they are their guitars. Yeah, Fender will always be known for their guitars. But,
and how much is this particular?
Oh, so the subscription on this is. Let's have a look. Where's it gone? It is like £10 a month.
Well, that's quite reasonable, isn't it? Would you say that is reasonable?
It depends how much it depends how much you get out of it, really. Compared to, my lessons are £36 for an hour. So compared to that, you could argue that you could get 4 months of access. So most people tend to have a lesson a week. So yeah, like a month's worth of lessons with myself, for example, could get you like a year's access. Yeah, of to this.
But
so
there's
yeah,
also
it
an
is.
element of not having any kind of accountability as well, though, isn't it? I think when you pop up every week, there's an element of accountability because they know you're coming back next Tuesday,
Yeah. I think they do actually have some way of. I think they probably just bombard you with email reminders to say, are you doing your practice?
Haven't logged on today.
Yeah, but I don't know how. That's obviously not that personal. I'm not sure if there is actually a way to, have a little one-to-one every now and then. I'm not sure.
Because that might be something that you could develop as your offering, like you could. Obviously, you have your in-person and one-to-one, but I can imagine there's probably a lot of people that are out there on the internet kind of surfing this cheaper schooling kind of world, and would like maybe some kind of support, some kind of teaching support kind of that is around that. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just assuming like not everyone can afford £34 an hour, and maybe you shouldn't be even giving those people any time of day because they're not your customers. So it might be like, well, you know, they're not really, if they're not going to pay, then they're not your customers, so therefore you shouldn't be concentrating on them. But I do think that there might be an element of picking up some low-hanging fruit by maybe having an ad or something out there that would say, you know, it's time to have an in-person lesson and really let your skills develop.
Yeah.
Because I just can imagine there's a lot of people floating around that actually do want to have lessons, but just haven't connected with the right teacher.
Well, there's definitely people. Quite a common route is to see how much you can learn from YouTube.
Yeah.
And YouTube is amazing for learning all sorts of stuff, not just music. But some people will kind of get stuck, and then there's no easy way of kind of asking a question and getting a useful response. I mean, you have a bunch of like forums, and even YouTube itself can be a bit of a forum under the video, you know, so people will be asking, you know, I don't quite get this bit, and occasionally the content creator might reply, but that's not a given. And so at that point, people then start to consider taking on actual in-person lessons.
So is that a potential place for you to slide in terms of areas that you could potentially get new customers from? Because obviously standing out from your competitors is really the ultimate, is to acquire a new custom.
Yeah, I mean, I think most, say, guitar teachers on YouTube do offer like one-to-one lessons, and I guess they're using the YouTube videos as a means of advertising. So yeah, but again, it just means kind of competing with them at the content game.
Yeah, and it is very difficult to do that, like, you know, to produce content. I think it's, you know, if you've got a team, you've got someone that can hold the camera for you, it makes life a lot easier, because then you can concentrate on the actual, you know, teaching and the delivery of the content.
Yeah,
I think if you're kind of self-recording and all that stuff, I can see why it might find it problematic or not want to really take it that way.
Yeah, it would be, part of me would love to give it a go, but I know that I'm gonna need to, you know, pump some money into buying some more gear and spend a lot of time just learning new like video editing software and stuff, which isn't really my forte at the moment. Yeah, it could be loads of fun, but I know it would use up a lot of time. I'm not sure if it's the best use of time currently, but yeah, it is definitely something to consider.
Well, I just think maybe having that kind of setup there, whether you're using it to, you know, just record your own music playing or in a teaching setup, I do think it is quite beneficial for you as a musician to have that setup in place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah. So we've got this SWOT analysis now. So we've got a few bits thinged out. But I'm thinking, because there's just the two of us in the session, would you like to maybe do one for your business as well? And then you've got some a comparative.
A SWOT analysis of my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I've taken a screenshot of that one, so that's.
Okay. You've taken a screenshot, yeah?
Yeah. So can just go over the. Yeah, I don't mind deleting that.
Yeah, so you don't mind now, I can delete it, yeah?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. Yeah, because when you plan for multiple people, my slides are not all on composite. Okay, so let's start with strengths.
Strengths will be that my lessons are tailored for the individual. And that's kind of, I guess there's a couple of aspects to that. One is the student chooses the songs that they want to learn.
Yeah.
And it can be anything. So it might be a song that I know already, and or it might not. I quite like the ones that aren't songs I know because keeps it interesting for me as well. But yeah, that's just the bonus really. And the second part to that is my teaching approach is dynamic to their skill level and just what speed they pick stuff up. So I'm able to kind of adapt how I teach.
So adapt.
Yeah. So the lessons are quite adaptive according to how quickly or not they pick stuff up. So yeah, those are the two main aspects really.
Okay.
And you obviously can't get either of those things, but I mean the second point is, I guess they're both as important as another really.
Go ahead.
But yeah, those are the two parts that make it tailored. They're important for two reasons really.
And I would also have to say that you're local.
Oh yeah, local. So I have a humble home studio that people can attend, and I also go to people's homes as well.
Is the price different for the coming to you than it is to you going to them?
No, I tried to keep the pricing kind of simple by just having a one price. Yeah. So it's the same either way.
Okay, and do you prefer to go out, or do you prefer for people to come to you?
I prefer. It's definitely less time for me if people come around, so maybe that. But then if it's kids, I definitely prefer to go around the parents' house. Yeah. Just because it's less responsibility. Although I do have some. There's one student where the parents just come around here and just sit in the room, which is not that they're the only ones that do that, but that works as well.
Yeah, I think if the parents are in attendance, then you're just doing your job. But I think when there's like a child caring element going on.
Yeah, just in case anything goes wrong, it's like that they're I mean nothing ever has, but yeah, less pressure maybe.
Yeah, you have to protect yourself as well. So especially with children and things like that as well, you want to make sure that you've got all the elements of like safeguarding and all that there. So being in their home is a lot easier to be compliant with all that, I suppose, than it would be being in your home.
Yeah. Oh, DBS checked. I guess that's a strength.
Yeah. I can't DBS. I don't think would you even be able to be a music teacher if you couldn't pass the DBS check?
Not in a a school, not if you, you wouldn't be able to run a school. If you do
well, you wouldn't even be able to get into a school without DBS check to be an employee.
I think private tuition, you are meant to have it, but some people definitely don't. Yeah. So you can,
worrying, isn't it?
You don't have to have it to register on a tutoring website, for example, but they usually have it on your profile whether you have it or not.
Okay.
But you don't have to have one to, or at least you didn't, unless that's changed recently.
Bit worrying if you don't, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for kids, but then for adults, maybe they don't really mind so much if it's.
I think it's slightly different. I think unless you're talking about vulnerable adults, which are effectively categorised the same as children, aren't they? Really. But I think adults can kind of work it out. But So.
But I've got one anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The most important thing. So where do you want to move on to next? Do you want to move on to weaknesses? Do you want to move on to opportunities?
Let's do weaknesses. Let's go around the same way.
Okay.
Weaknesses. Weaknesses would be I don't have an online presence, really. Well, I have a minimal online presence.
And do you want one?
It would probably. I mean, I do have an online presence, but it's minimal. I don't really push it. So I've got a website, and I'm on nextdoor.co.uk, but I've been reluctant to go on to the kind of main social media.
What, like Instagram or something like that?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram would be those would be the two worth going on, really.
Yeah, I would think that they would probably be worth going on, because I think a lot of potential children that are searching for teachers would be looking on those platforms as well. Like Facebook is more for the parents, and Instagram and TikTok more for the actual students. Yeah. Do you play in any bands, or do you do any kind of music in your own right?
Yeah, I'm not in a band currently, actually, but do solo performance.
Yeah, because that might be the social media side of things. It might be worth kind of filling it up with the other element of your musical life, gigging or supporting friends, or that element of it. Yeah. So it's not just all teaching, but obviously if your main goal is to get more students, then you have to really be mindful that what you're putting out on your other bits of social media, because the image has to be supported. You don't want you getting really drunk and
no
playing a rock star, like and then you've got Tommy's mummy going, oh, I'm not sure if he's the right teacher.
yeah definitely.
Is that is there any other reasons for why you felt like social media is not something that you really want to do?
It was more from a personal kind of worry of spending just way too much time doing it, because I've pretty much managed to pull myself away from social media, personally, that is, not from business stuff. And so I was reluctant to kind of like go back in, because it's a time stealer.
Yeah, it does. It does. Even like producing content could easily take hours.
Yeah, and you just get, there's a risk of just getting sucked in, you know, just browsing when, you know, rather than just getting caught up in it again. So that was why, but I am well aware that it's probably a really useful resource. But yeah, that's the reason for my reluctance.
Okay, so that's definitely a weakness, but I'm not sure if that's, obviously, if you're reluctant, is it something that you want to factor into your business? Do you think that that's something that you have to give time to? You feel reluctant about it and you feel uneasy, then it may not be an element of the business that you really want to push or promote. So you know, I do think social media is important, but I don't think it's the be all and end all. Do you have, so you said you've got a website?
Yeah, I got a website. Yeah, I got one of those. Yeah, I got a website and I've got a profile on nextdoor.co.uk, which is like I guess that is a kind of a, you know, that is a social media, but it's like a local one. So
and a neighbourhood directory kind of thing. It's all things neighbourly, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've got profiles with online tutoring agencies as well. So there is that kind of an online presence. It's mainly, just the kind of main social media platforms that I'm not on.
Okay. Well, as I said,
social media is the weakness.
Yeah, no online presence. Media. Okay. Any other weaknesses?
Maybe not having a list of songs for people to choose from.
So how do they how do your students currently pick their music? Do they just say it to you and you just Google it?
I ask them, what songs would you love to learn? And invariably they'll come back with some. I usually ask for 3, and the choices are really varied, and most importantly, there's often songs that I'm just not aware of, that I wouldn't have been able to offer them, And so the reason behind that is, if they're learning something that they were like already really excited about, the chance for them staying engaged long term is much greater, because that is a challenge for people learning an instrument, is keeping at it. And learning songs that other people have kind of learn this. If they don't like the song, then the chances of them losing interest are much greater. So that's the reason for it. I haven't really met anyone yet who hasn't had a song that they wanted to learn. So so rather than give them a list, they give me the options. On one occasion though, somebody really didn't like that format, but it's just it's a different approach. The other way to do it would be to have a list of like 100 songs, and like Fender, you would categorize them by easy or difficult, and then they would choose based on where they thought they were, at.
But isn't it quite often that with you will be able, whether they choose a song which is way above or below their skill type, you would be able to amend it for their skill type anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah, there's always, I mean, there are some exceptions, but usually there is a simpler way of playing a song if need be. You can simplify the rhythm, you can simplify the chords.
So when your customers say, oh, I like this and this song, would you go about source the sheet music and then rearrange it, would you?
We only use sheet music if that's something they want to kind of learn alongside. A lot of students actually aren't. It depends if they're learning towards their grades, then yeah. But a lot of guitarists actually just want to be able to play it, and they're not too worried about kind of reading
the notes.
So in that instance, I will kind of produce my own kind of supportive material that they can look at.
Okay. So in that production, that's a unique selling point, isn't it? That's not a strength.
Yeah, that's really time consuming as well, actually.
I can
and at the moment, I don't charge any more for it. Someone has suggested that I should consider that as a separate product.
Yeah, and then when you've actually rearranged these products, you're not listing or categorizing them, because obviously once you've done that once, it's done already, isn't it? So therefore, to use that same piece of music over and over again once you've already made your changes would make sense for it to be, obviously it's time consuming, and also you it will just save you time, it will save you money, and then you've got it on file. So I do think maybe we could put something down in terms of weakness, like in terms of because you said that you didn't have a list of music that you present, so maybe that is something that would be something good for your service, products or service.
Yeah, so is that an opportunity then, perhaps?
Yes, it is an opportunity. Let's get that. So I'm going to put repurpose. What is the word? Amended music? I wouldn't. What is the correct terminology?
I guess you could call it sheet music.
Sheet music. Repurpose. Sheet music. And to have some kind of filing system that makes it easy for you. Would you do that by hand, or would you do it on your computer?
I have recently started doing it by hand, which I wouldn't really be able to, sell those. But yeah, no, I've done proper produced ones on the computer that look pretty good. Yeah, those are ones that take a bit of time. So yeah, so on computer.
So maybe it might be worth
PDFs,
It might be worth factoring the time that it takes to do that into your offering in terms of your charge rate, or because I think that could even be a business in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it could be. I could potentially start to compile all of those, and make them available via the website potentially. Yeah.
So we've got here repurposed music, and I'm going to put potential new revenue from selling sheet music. So weaknesses, no online presence, minimal.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe there's just one of you, so there's no team.
Yeah.
It could be a weakness and a strength, that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it as a strength as well. Flexible.
Mm-hmm.
No team, flexible. And then you've got no team. So do you not partner with any other teachers that potentially I suppose it was probably quite competitive to be like, here's my student. You wouldn't necessarily do that, would you?
It is possible that another tutor may just not be able to take on a new student, and so you might get a referral then. A friend of mine who is a piano teacher, he and I are always referring students, because he obviously doesn't play guitar and I don't play as well as he does on piano. So whenever somebody inquires and they're like, "Oh, do you teach piano as well?" Because I've got another kid who is learning, I'll refer to my friend, and he does likewise. So yeah, we have that little relationship.
So that's a strength as well, isn't it? That you've
and we're both local as well, so it works out pretty well. I'd say, just think of another strength just sprung to mind. I retain my customers, and I get referrals from customers as well.
Well, that's a big
yeah, it's quite reassuring. I must be
it is.
doing something right. So threats would be quite similar to what's actually already there, apart from the first point.
Yeah, that's why I didn't delete them as we went, because I thought, actually, because it's the quite often the opposite.
Yeah. So no. Yeah, I guess can lose the first point. The second point is almost the opposite. So I don't offer. Some people might like might like a more generic approach. So that's
Okay.
Although you can probably just get rid of that first point. I think people lessons that are available for free or cheaper, like it's just online lessons. That's the threat, I would say.
Okay.
And then other local teachers as well. Although I'm not actually aware of any other guitar teachers like immediately locally. But I mean, within London, there's obviously loads.
Okay. So other local online lessons. Local teachers.
Yeah.
Threats. Obviously, I think one of the threats that come to mind is that based around you being, self-employed and not working in a team, is that you know, if you're unable to do the class, then you miss the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So solo teacher. No content. Restricted by the number of customers you can see.
Yeah, that might be a restriction in the future. I wouldn't say that's not a. I mean, that's not a threat currently.
No, but long term it potentially could be. So how many hours a day do you offer for tuition?
It's really flexible, to be honest. I've got students both in the week and on the weekend, so it's kind of structured around when people are available, rather than when I'm available. I kind of work around it.
Do you get
Just
much of a work-life balance then?
It's a bit blurred. It's a bit blurred, but because I'm still in the early stages and building it up, so I'm not in a position where I can afford to be less flexible. But in the future, I would love to have. I'd love to have a couple of days where, there isn't any teaching. But yeah.
So you don't block that out then?
Not currently, no, because I don't currently have enough students, so I'm still growing. But once I get to that point, once I've got like too many students to take on, at that point I'll be able to have a more rigid schedule.
But at that point, then you would be. What would be the options? Would it be to take on another teacher, or would it be to move to online group sessions?
To be honest, it would probably be to start exploring other aspects of music away from teaching entirely. So I mentioned earlier on that I do live performance as well, and I'm also wanting to get into library music. So I would be able to block out time to focus on those other. I mean, they're almost separate businesses in a way.
Yes, they are.
So I would, but who knows? My thoughts might change on that. But currently, the plan was to get the teaching to a certain point, and then not to continue expanding, but to just be able to afford to spend time on other aspects that I can then build up. So the plan was never to be just a guitar tutor. That was just going to be one stream.
So do you record your own music and things, and that's really what you want to be, what's going to be pushing, like what element of your music career is the bit that you want to push the most? Like
well, I kind of settled on the idea that it was never going to be just one thing, and how much I spend on whatever aspect would kind of be dictated by what opportunities were there at that time. At the moment, the main priority is the teaching, but I'm just starting to get back into doing more live performance, and there's other kind of more production science that I wanted to get into. As I said, the library music, which would be recording stuff at home, and then hopefully that stuff getting picked up for whichever kind of media. But that is like something I need to really build up from nothing. So then, but in the future, I'd have at least those kind of 3 streams, and yeah, and just kind of go from there, really.
Well, I've just dropped a link in the chat for feedback. So if you wouldn't mind completing that for me, it's like an online. Have you taken a screenshot of the SWOT analysis of what we've done for your business?
Let me just do that now.
And obviously this is something that you would grow with. Next week, I'm actually hosting another seminar, how to stand out in the a competitive market. And we basically will take these SWOT analyses and kind of just take the information off them and evolve them a little bit more into, we kind of did a little element of it today where we were looking at the competitors, looking at your offering, and then kind of carving a niche between what they do good and what you actually offer, and see if there's any ways to tweak your offering to kind of fill a gap, because it's all problems and solutions, isn't it? So
yeah,
you want to, as someone who's a sole trader or a solo entrepreneur, then for you to kind of carve your path in terms of being able to offer a product and service that can stand up against the vendors, where people will be like, hang on, no, I actually want to learn with Gareth because he is a much better teacher, or in-person teaching is much better. So I think that you'll be able to navigate a path kind of picking off what you get from these SWOT analysis. Hopefully it's been helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
You.
Thank you for the one-on-one.
Yeah, it's a one-on-one. Yeah, it was a one-on-one. So do you have any other questions?
No, I don't think so. I've made a bunch of notes. Yeah, it's got me thinking about well, it's just another angle really to consider what I'm not doing and things that I could be trying out.
The things, the immediate things that really stood out for me was the kind of social media element of it. It's free. Yeah. It's free.
Well, it's free, but then organic reach isn't.
No, organic reach isn't. And sometimes just having a presence so people would be able to say, oh, I wonder what that teacher's like. But I suppose if you've got that on your website and a few videos and bits, so people can actually, see your teaching style. But I would maybe do one free lesson a week, and that's your social media offering. Like you could do like have like a live where people you can just have a little jam at a designated time every week, and that could just be a way of getting people interested in your other music, your teaching.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually. It could just be a Zoom, like a 30-minute Zoom lesson.
Or you go live on Instagram or something, because the thing with Zoom is that people have to have the link. Hence today, like, people have to have the link, otherwise they're not going to be present. So you could be potentially sitting on Zoom to an empty class. But if you were to go on Instagram and just go live, someone could just go, oh, guitar, play along guitar lesson, or just want to hear you strum, or I think a live on TikTok might even be another one for you, because TikTok is so big at the moment. A live on YouTube even, because it's the land of the how-to.
Yeah, true. Okay. Yeah, food for thought.
Yeah, well, thank you for attending today. I'm going to stop the recording now.